Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. 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 I will build this world with love. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. And you will build this world with love. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. And if we build this world with love, yadadai, 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 then God will build this world with love. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai.
Good morning, and welcome to South Church. This is a space for all, for those present and those joining online, for first-timers and familiar faces. Your beliefs, background, identity, who you choose to love, and what brings you here today are all welcomed. You matter, and we are so happy to see you. My name is Veda Kiper Phelps, and I'm one of a team of worship associates who have the honor of serving South Church and working with our minister, Reverend Ellen Quaadgras. Today, I'm grateful to be joined by our Director of Lifespan Ministries, Kirsten Hunter, Director of Children and Family Ministries, Jen Deldeo Berry, Music Director, Jonny Piper, Pianist, Susan Adams, Congregational Administrator, Jennifer Leiden, our AV Technician, Ben Abbott. Thank you. We are very happy to be joined today by Matt Meyer, who is a lifelong Unitarian Universalist with a long background as a musician and worship leader for UU congregations. Matt lives in Boston, but travels as an internet worship leader, bringing the good news of Unitarian Universalism to hundreds of congregations all over the country. He serves as the Director of Operations for Sanctuary Boston, a contemporary UU worship community with rockin' music and engaging worship that meets on Wednesday evenings, online and in person. Matt is also a published children's book author. His story, Desmond Gets Free, won a Not to Less award for social justice in children's fiction. To get a copy for a child, teacher, or any justice maker in your life, stop by the table after worship to purchase a copy. We are excited to have him with us today, and we hope you come back at 2 p.m. for his workshop, Singing for Resistance and Resilience. For those in need of assistance today, our ushers will be able to help you with personal listening devices and large print hymnals in the back. We also invite you to join us downstairs after the service for coffee, tea, and conversation. It is important that we take this time to acknowledge the land in which this beloved space was built upon. This land is the territory of the Wabanaki and Pennacook people, and they did not give this home up. May we hold this truth in our hearts. May we feel connected to this earth. May we welcome all through these doors and utilize this generationally sacred space for action towards restorative justice. Thank you for your presence here this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I have a couple of announcements. My first announcement is the announcement of announcements, which is check your order of service. There is some wonderful things happening at South Church, and I suspect there is something there for everyone to engage you and inspire you and move you forward in your spiritual journey, including, for example, this month's spiritual decathlon card is now out, and you will find it there in your order of service. If you have no idea what the spiritual decathlon is, there is a link and a QR code at the bottom of the card that links to a website that will tell you everything you need to know. But you can kind of figure it out if you look down the list. These are ideas, inspirations, opportunities for you to connect with your spiritual journey. I also want to emphasize what Veda just said, which is that not only do we get to have Matt Meyer here for worship this morning, but he will be leading a circle for songs of resistance and resilience this afternoon at 2 o'clock, which is a way to fill your tank for this time. Someone said to me recently, we need songs for the movement. Well, we're going to have some, which is wonderful. And is a very special weekend. It's our vision. I've been hearing a little bit about that in communications, and last week Thea Wiegand talked about it a little bit in worship. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to shape our vision together, for your insights and hopes and expressions of who you want us to be, to come together with one another and create something that we all reach for together. And again, feel free to look at the other announcements in your order of service, and we now get to have the invocation. This is not an announcement, this is a ceremony, which is the invocation, and is a very special moment. So special, jump right into it. There are many special days in the life of a congregation, not only a day where we get to have Matt Meyer with us, but a day we get to formally recognize those in our midst who have chosen to join this congregation, who want to bring our UU values to life in their lives. Today, we witness the expanding of our parts into a larger, more purposeful whole that moves the world toward greater good for all.
Our newest members have made a decision to join a community committed to the search for truth. They've joined a congregation that stands for justice, knowing that achieving justice is a long and challenging journey. They've joined with a people who strive to live in loving relationship with one another, knowing that we have a variety of religious and social understandings within this community. These are not easy things.
This church holds no one set creed upon which everyone agrees. What we do affirm is that we will be kind and generous with each other in our varied understandings of the spiritual life, and also that we will show compassion and caring for ourselves, our world.
I'm going to call out the names of our newest members, and if you are here as you hear your name, please come forward and accept a flower as a symbol of our love and joy at your joining us. And then remain up here with us for a little ritual. Here are the names. And they are in your order of service, but unfortunately we missed two folks. So I'm going to begin with them just to give them special mention and apologize. This happens. What a bounty that we have so many names that a couple got missed, but so sorry for that. Cynthia Downs and Jen Seavey. Also Christopher George Ingrid Alberg, Jesse and Laurel Noyes, Kelly Patrick. Oh, and Jesse and Laurel's kiddos are coming up here with them. They are part of this special moment. Kelly Patrick, Lori Contrino, Jay Ianni, Jennifer Rose, Corey McAvaney, Andrea DuPont, Robin Carlson, Christine Montlabute, I hope I said that right, Christine Martin, Barbara Ballantine, Stacy Brown, Becky May, and Bobby Miller. And you all can scooch a little bit this way. Everybody move toward us. We made some room for you so we can see everyone.
My name is Melita Eng. I welcome each of you, our newest members. As a member of the Fellowship Associates, I will share what we expect of you as members of this congregation. We expect you to be present on Sunday mornings, present at congregational meetings, present in life in the community. We expect you to grow spiritually, to examine your life and its meaning for you in the community, and to share these insights with others. We expect you to give of yourself in service, both to the church and the larger community. We expect you to participate in the stewardship process and support this church with your financial support. Do you, the newest members of this congregation, freely accept these expectations of your membership? If so, respond by saying, yes, we do.
And I'm going to actually, because we have a kiddo here, before I ask all of the members, I'd love for the children first to stand if you're in the room. This is one of the few times you're invited to stand up on the cushion of the pew if you want, so that you can really be seen. And I just want to make sure, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question, but we always like to ask our young people if you are ready to welcome this newest young person into our community and are committed to play and joy and support and friendship with them. If you are, please say, we do. Really loud. I heard it. And all of the members, you're welcome to stand if you wish, but you can stay seated. Will the members of South Church, please rise if you're able. With every new member, we become a new congregation. Do you welcome these people into membership, fully aware that as life is constantly changing, so too our congregation is constantly evolving? If you do, please say, yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Please be seated. We close with these words from Starhawk. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never seen, a place half remembered and half envisioned that we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Somewhere, there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere, a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace we can each be free. Amen, and blessed be.
has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Let's try that together. Love has made a place for you where everything is new.
As we light our chalice this morning, we invite those joining online to light a candle or chalice of their own. We light this chalice today with the words of Eckhart Tolle. When you lose touch with your inner stillness, you lose touch with yourself. When you lose touch with yourself, you lose yourself in the world. Now please join me in body or spirit in reciting our mission statement printed in your order of service. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people and inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community.
Love has made a place for you where everything is new.
I grew up spending hot summer evenings in Glover, Vermont, watching papier-mâché puppets soar through the air. My family and I would bring an umbrella for the hot sun and park our blanket on the steep, grassy hill next to the crowded audience. If you are not familiar with the Bread and Puppet community, they are a group of activists who personify the world's political and social issues through a puppet and art theater in Vermont's Northeast Kingdom. They sculpt massive faces and bodies and symbols representing the injustices of the world, exuberating reminders of love, nature, peace, and togetherness. The organization formed during the Civil Rights Movement, utilizing art as radical justice. Creativity kindled an opportunity for a handful of humans to express their realities in a different light. This theater is a way of coping with the struggles of our shared existence, as not only are they communicating fears, but they are leaning into the peace of it all. As the activists paint their puppets, they are renewing their thoughts. They are transforming their anger and fear and sadness into beauty and connection. What begins in chaos and worry translates into something much more permanent, much more impactful. And this light is shared to those dwelling in the same realities. I have attended the Bread and Puppet festivals every summer of my life, and I think this processing of emotions has rubbed off on me a little bit. Because it's when I am the most stressed out that I'm doing the most art. It's when my math teacher is explaining our hardest exam that I'm doodling faces on the sides of the paper. It's when I'm worrying about my future that I decide to make a collage. It's when the government is crumbling that I paint. And when I'm happy, I do art too. But it's a different experience. When I'm stress-free and creating art, I am mindless and relaxed, humming music or chatting. When the stress is high, the ease of this meditative activity doesn't separate me from my worries, but allows me to analyze them in a softer perspective. I am grateful to have so frequently witnessed Bread and Puppet's way of transforming darkness into light. Coping through art activates hope as it encourages open-mindedness. And no matter how liberal Vermont may be, it is most definitely in the white privileged bubble of New England. And Bread and Puppet understands this and works to articulate a vital sense of humility that is necessary in building that full sense of understanding. Through their theater, They open up a dialogue that shines on lives whose stories may not occur in that bubble. Without these experiences, I know for sure I'd be taking for granted everything beloved and necessary in my life. And I'd have a sense of doubt about the lives differentiating from my own. Art has had a way of translating all these emotions into hope, and I've only found peace on this hill at Bread and Puppet. Now please join me in Body or Spirit in singing our opening hymn, number 357, Bright Morning Stars in Your Gray Hymnal.
This hymn is in your hymnal, but I'm going to warn you that we're using different words and also a different melody. So your hymnal probably cannot help you now. We Unitarian Universalists are descended on our Unitarian side from the Puritans. And once upon a time in our congregations, there was a great controversy. A controversy that divided families against each other, that had people excommunicated and storming out of the pews. The controversy of whether to allow hymns in church. But before the heresy of hymns came into our congregations, we only sang the Psalms, and we only sang them in call and response. And so we're going to do a lot of call and response singing this morning in honor of our roots. But we're going to do it with some theology and goodness knows some rhythm that would have our Puritan ancestors rolling over in their graves. So listen up and I'll teach you this song. It goes like this. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. Let's try that. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. All right. And for all of our sing this morning, I encourage you to do it in whatever way your spirit needs. If the words elude you and you just want to hum along, that's okay. That's just as good. And if what you need is to sit down and be silent and just soak in the sound of the room, that's okay too. That's just as good. And if what you need this morning is to rock out like you're alone in the car with your radio, this is your morning to do it, to try some new harmonies and to dance in the aisles. Here we go. Bright morning. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in. Rise up and hear your calling, rise up and hear your calling, rise up and hear your calling, rise up and hear your calling. Day is a breaking in my soul. Rise up from morning slumber, rise up from morning slumber, rise up from morning slumber, rise up from morning slumber. Day is a breaking in my bright morning star. Bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my. Oh, lift your voice to heaven. 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 Day is a breaking in my soul. We'll build this faith together. 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 Day is a breaking in my soul. And bright morning, bright morning stars arise, bright morning stars arise, morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my bright morning star. One more time, bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and bright morning stars arise, and day is a breaking in my soul. Day is a breaking. Day is a breaking in my soul. Day is a breaking. Day is a breaking in my soul. One more time, slowly. Day is a breaking in my soul. Oh, you sound good. Let's take a deep breath. You may be seated as you exhale. I'd love to invite the children and young folks and anyone else looking for a good story this morning to come join us at the front. So as Veda spoke about, today's service is about how art, how spiritual communities like this can help us to ask new questions about the world, can help us to question the way we find things and imagine new ways. And so I have just the story for you all. Now, Desmond the mouse lived in the most beautiful meadow in all of the land. Every morning, Desmond would sunrise and spend the whole day long. And every night, Desmond would go to sleep right in the middle of the meadow under the beautiful starry sky above. One night, though, Desmond woke to find that it was still dark out. So he tried to roll over and get comfortable and go back to sleep, but something was not right. He could hardly move, and his tail was throbbing with pain. Reaching behind him, he felt that there was it felt like some sort of huge boulder had fallen just on his tail in the middle of the meadow. He tried pushing on this giant rock behind him with all of his strength, but it didn't budge. And when that didn't work, he tried tugging on his tail to get loose, tugging with all of his might. It didn't work. But he tried and tugging and pushing over and over and over again. So finally he was out of breath and he was exhausted and he had just about given up when he saw another animal passing by through the meadow. It was a tall giraffe. And so he called out, "Oh, giraffe, it seems that some sort of boulder has fallen just on my tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could use your powerful legs to nudge it, well, even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free." Well, the giraffe laughed at Desmond the way giraffes do. "You silly mouse," he said. "That's no boulder that's fallen on your tail in the middle of the meadow. That is an elephant that's fallen asleep on your tail in the middle of the meadow." Well, Desmond thought, maybe that's good news. In that case, if you could just gently wake him up and ask him to roll over even just a few inches in the other direction, I could get free. "I don't know about that," said the giraffe. "I mean, surely you must know what they say about letting sleeping elephants lie. I find it's best not to get involved in other animals' business. I find it's best to remain neutral in times such as these." "Well," Desmond said, "I do not appreciate your neutrality." The giraffe wandered off, leaving Desmond alone, and so he tried to shout as loud as he could to wake the elephant, but those giant elephant ears at the way other end of that giant elephant body, they were just too far away. When that didn't work, he tried pushing again with all of his strength. When the elephant didn't budge, he tried tugging on his tail with all of his might, and he tried shouting and pushing and tugging and pushing and shouting over and over again. So finally he was out of breath and exhausted and had just about given up when he saw another animal pass by through the meadow. This time it was a gazelle, and he called out, "Oh, gazelle, it seems that an elephant has fallen asleep just on my tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could just gently wake him up and ask him to roll over even a few inches in the other direction, I could get free." "I don't know about that," said the gazelle. "Surely you must know what they say about letting sleeping elephants lie. I find it's best not to get involved in other animals' business. I find it's best to remain neutral in times such as these." Well, the gazelle wandered off, and Desmond said almost to himself this time, "I do not appreciate your neutrality." One last time, Desmond tried shouting with all of his voice. He tried pushing with all of his strength and tugging with all of his might. And he tried shouting and pushing and tugging and pushing and shouting over and over and over again. So he was exhausted and out of breath. And he had just about given up for the last time when he saw another animal pass by through the grass. And this time, it was another mouse. And when he shouted out, that mouse ran right over and introduced himself. He said, "My name is Nelson. What seems to be the problem?" Well, no sooner had Desmond explained the situation than Nelson ran all the way over to the other end of that giant elephant body, and he shouted up to those giant elephant ears at the top of that giant elephant head. He said, "Excuse me! It seems you've fallen asleep on my friend's tail in the middle of the meadow. If you could roll over just a few inches in the other direction, he could get free." Well, the elephant heard Nelson's little mouse voice way down on the ground, but it was just a bit too far away, and he was just a bit too quiet. And between you and me, I think that elephant was just a bit too comfortable. He didn't budge. So Nelson thought for a moment before he ran back to Desmond, and he said, "I think I might have an idea. Stay right here. Don't move." And he ran off into the grass, leaving a confused look on Desmond's face. And just when Desmond was starting to get a little worried again, he saw Nelson emerge back through the grass. But he wasn't alone this time. He had found 3 other mouse friends. And each of them, they had each done their job. They had each found another 3 friends as well. And the whole group of them, they ran all the way to the other end of that giant elephant body. And one mouse, she climbed up on the shoulders of another, and another mouse climbed up on... Got so excited, turned off the microphone. She climbed up on her shoulders, and one by one, they made a whole mouse ladder all the way up the back of that giant elephant body. And then finally, Nelson climbed up the shoulders of his friends one by one till he stood right at the opening of that giant elephant ear. And he shouted with all of his voice, "Excuse me! It seems you've fallen asleep on my friend's tail in the middle of the meadow. Roll over just a few inches so he can get free." Well, this time his voice was just too close and just too loud to ignore. And so the elephant said, but then he rolled over just a few inches in the other direction. And Nelson and his friends climbed back down carefully to the ground, and they met up with Desmond, and the whole group of them, they spent the rest of that day playing together at the edge of the meadow. Archbishop Desmond Tutu said that if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you've already taken sides. You've taken sides with the powerful and with the oppressor. And he said if an elephant is standing on the tail of a mouse, the mouse will never appreciate your neutrality. Archbishop Tutu believed in a God who took sides with the orphan and the widow and the oppressed everywhere. And as Unitarian Universalists, we may or may not share a belief in that same God, but we have shared agreements together. We have covenanted together to build a world of justice and equity and compassion. And that means imagining and working for a world very different than the one we see around us today. And it means we come together in communities like this, to do together what we could not do alone. And we come together to take sides for justice, to take sides for equity and compassion. And it means we come together to side with love. May it be so, beloveds, and may we make it so. And we shall sing you on to your classes.
During the month of May, our collection will be shared with the National Alliance of Mental Illness of New Hampshire. This organization is a grassroots organization working to improve the quality of life for all by providing support, education, and advocacy for people affected by mental illness and suicide. Please give as you are able. The offering will now be gratefully received.
There are more waters rising, they will find their way to me. There are more waters rising, this I know, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know. There are more fires burning, this I know, this I know. There are more fires burning, this I know. There are more fires burning, they will find their way to me. There are more fires burning, this I know, this I know. There are more fires burning, this I know. There are more mountains falling, this I know, this I know. There are more mountains falling, this I know. There are more mountains falling, they will find their way to me. There are more mountains falling, this I know, this I know. There are more mountains falling, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know. I will wade through the waters when they find their way to me. I will wade through the waters, this I know, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know. I will walk through the fires, this I know, this I know. I will walk through the fires, this I know. I will walk through the fires when they find their way to me. I will walk through the fires, this I know, this I know. I will walk through the fires, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains when they find their way to me. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know. This I know, this I know.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. We're all gathered here in those far away. For this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
I invite you to breathe deeply, to be present in this place where, for now at least, there is nowhere else you need to be. Breathe deep and be present in your body, present in this moment where, for now at least, there is nothing else you need to do. I offer this prayer that comes to us from enfleshed liturgies. Before the burning bush of this world, asking us to love all of its holy and hurting ground, come, beloveds, with whatever seed of faith you can muster, and listen. Listen for the voice of God thundering softly in your depths. Listen with your hunger. Listen with your hurt. Your heart and all of its wisdom cultivated over time in the company of others. These are the soils from which God calls us to blossom and to bloom, to bear fruit that nourishes and grow our future together with care. This tending requires courage, but it is not a sacrifice. Just let yourself unfold in the direction of shared flourishing. Maybe you are a cleansing fire or a safe place to rest. Maybe you are the grit that won't let us give up. Maybe you are the queer love poem that opens something holy and hopeful in 1,000 other people. There are a million ways to be in love with this groaning and gorgeous world. Just let yourself unfold in the direction of shared flourishing. And we invite you now to take a moment and reflect on any joys or sorrows you may be carrying in your own heart. Any joys or sorrows in this hurting, groaning world, or any celebrations you are carrying. And we invite you to take a moment to come light a candle silently up front, or if it's something you would like the congregation to know about, you can write down your concern or joy on the yellow pastoral care cards in the pews. Blessed be. Let's take another breath together. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, I will fall down. Let's try that together. I'm going to lift my sister 3 times. If I don't lift her up 3 times. I'm going to lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm going to lift my sister up. She is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She is not heavy. If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, I will fall down. The song was written by a woman named Faya or Rose Toure. She's not only a singer-songwriter and also a playwright and a poet, but she founded 12 different organizations working for racial justice and civil rights. And in her free time, I guess, her day job was that she was the first black woman judge in Alabama. She was arrested just a few years ago during the uprisings after the murder of George Floyd for civil disobedience, protesting still. I invite you to sing along. Please rise, embody your spirit. I'm gonna lift my brother. I'm gonna lift my brother up. He is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up. He is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up. He is not heavy. If I don't lift him up, if I don't lift him up, if I don't lift him up, I will fall down. My sibling, I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sibling up. They are not heavy. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall down. My neighbor, I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my neighbor up. They are not heavy. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall down. Let's take a deep breath. You may be seated as you exhale and set the song down gently. One time at band camp, well, drum camp specifically, I was in high school and I stumbled into a conversation one evening that some fellow students were having with one of our camp counselors. The counselor was sharing about his Christian faith, and he told us about a theological question called Pascal's wager. Now, the thing to know about Pascal, for those of you not familiar, is that he was a theologian and he had the idea of this wager. That's about it. His wager was this: either God is real or not, and you either believe in him, and it was a him, or not. So the smart thing to do is to believe in God, because you avoid the risk of hell if he is real, and if he isn't real, then no one goes to hell or heaven anyway, so nothing gained and nothing lost. Essentially, by believing, he said, you have a chance at avoiding hell. But by not believing, you take the risk. You roll the dice on a zillion years of suffering. Now, I was atheist at the time, and this question didn't quite convince me to believe in God, but I secretly did struggle with it for years. The logic seemed so sound, and I didn't want to admit to others or even to myself that belief in God seemed like the more rational choice, even though I still felt like an atheist in my heart. It was over a decade later when I admitted my doubt out loud. I was in the kitchen one evening doing dishes with a housemate, and I admitted my doubt in atheism. Being able to name that doubt out loud, it opened up a conversation between us. And while doing the dishes, it was in that conversation that I realized you could place the same wager on any religion or on any idea of God. The choice was never only whether to believe in a specific kind of Christian God or not. The choice could be between 1,000 versions of God in 1,000 different belief systems. In that case, I realized the most strategic choice, the rational choice, in fact, would be to believe in whichever God threatens you with the worst violence for betraying them. If every God says to you, believe in me or else, the one to pick is the one whose or else is the worst. So you have the best chance at avoiding the worst version of hell. Friends, needless to say, this is no way to be religious, and it's no way to run a life. Any God who would treat heaven as a bribe for the faithful few is no God of love and no God worthy of our praise. Our spiritual ancestors founded the Universalist tradition by proclaiming this exact heresy about 200 years ago. I'll always remember, though, the moment in my 4th grade religion class. I didn't go to a public school, don't worry. My 4th grade religion teacher told us that the Bible made it clear that exactly 144,000 people were going to go to heaven. At the time, as a 4th grader, even then I realized that across all the generations of humanity, this was a very narrow gate. And I responded by wanting more than anything to be good enough to make the cut. But now I wouldn't actually want to be a part of a club that was so exclusive to so many. We know that unjust authorities all over the world maintain power by offering privileges to pay off the loyalty of a few at the cost of the many. I wouldn't take that bribe, not on earth and not in heaven. But if you're in this sanctuary this morning, this is probably old news to you. Not many people visit a UU congregation without having already rejected at least the traditional idea of hell. But the story of an authority who would offer salvation to some at the cost of the many in exchange for a regime of fear and loyalty, that is also the story of white supremacy. It is the story of patriarchy. Offering privileges to a big enough group that they don't question the injustice of the larger system, this is the story of nearly all of the isms that plague us. In 1834 in Philadelphia, there was a riot called the Flying Horses Riot. An organized white mob destroyed the homes of African Americans living in their neighborhood. Irish immigrants living in the same neighborhoods were told to put a candle in their window the night of the riot. The candle would be a symbol to identify that as a white household, so they would be spared from the fires and the arson and the violence. These Irish immigrants, my own cultural ancestors, were just entering into the racial hierarchy of this new country, and they were asked to pick sides, for or against, white or black. They faced an impossible question, choosing between safety for their families or dignity for all. Many of them put the candle in their window, and they chose whiteness, and their homes were spared. Systems of injustice continue to offer bribes of privilege to many of us, inviting us to put a candle in our windows, claiming safety for ourselves at the cost of our neighbors. Us white folks, us able-bodied folks, us men and cis folks, perhaps most egregiously those who actually inherit money from an even more inequitable time. We're promised safety and comfort for the few as long as we put that window in our candle and close our eyes to the violence down the street. These systems perpetuate the lie that you can keep your family safe as long as you remain silent about violence outside. Before I admitted my doubt in atheism, I had struggled for so many years with Pascal's wager, not because I had the wrong answer, but because I had the wrong question. Friends, don't just doubt the religious answers that people give you. Doubt the questions they're asking. Doubt the questions when they don't begin with love. Doubt the questions that are meant to divide us one from another, saved from the unsaved. You all are familiar, probably, with many of the world's major religious traditions. But I want to tell you about a religious tradition this morning that is as old as any of them and as global as all of them. The ancient religious tradition of holy doubt. And I want to tell you about 3 traditions of holy doubt. The first goes back at least as far as Anaxagoras, whose name I've practiced saying so many times and doesn't seem to help. He was the first person in history to be indicted in court for atheism in 467 BCE. His crime was that he saw a meteorite fall from the sky to the earth, and when he found it lying on the ground, he began to wonder, he began to theorize if maybe the stars and the planets in the heavens were just fiery balls of rock and metal instead of gods traveling back and forth across the heavens. This is what got him convicted. One tradition of doubt is a tradition of people looking up to the heavens and wondering if they're not so different from the world we can grasp here on earth as it is in heaven. The first tradition of doubt, this tradition has led to almost everything science has ever taught us. It is doubt in the unquestioned supremacy of tradition, and it is belief in the possibility for learning and for change. It is belief in research and science and evidence. The second tradition of doubt is a tradition of people looking not up to the heavens, but across to each other. Learning from each other across cultures and traditions can wonderfully lead to second-guessing our old, narrow assumptions. This tradition goes back at least as far as Xenophanes, who was also Greek, but traveled all over the ancient world. And the more he traveled and the more he learned about other nations and other cultures, the more he began to notice something, which is that the Greek gods were so Greek. He eventually ended up claiming that if horses could paint, they would probably paint gods that might look a lot like horses. This second tradition of doubt is a tradition of cross-cultural engagement, a tradition that invites us to see the world through another's perspective. It is the basis of every movement for peace. It is doubt in the stories we may have once taken for granted, and it is belief in the experience of those who are different from us. It is belief in diversity and equity and inclusion. A third tradition of holy doubt is a tradition of questioning unearned and unjust authority. And for this last one, let's go to the Bible itself. As an adult, I've come back to the Bible not to take it literally, but to take it seriously. And I love that the religious tradition of doubt is alive and well, even in Scripture. 2 separate times in the story of Exodus, God gets angry with the infidelity of the Israelites. He tells Moses, "Get out of the way, I'm going to destroy the whole lot of them." And Moses doubts God's question, doubts God's demand, and stands in the way against genocide. First, Moses appeals to God's more loving nature. But when it happens a second time, Moses appeals to God's delicate, fragile masculinity. He says, if you kill us, the Egyptians, they're going to hear about it. And they're going to tell everybody all over the place that you said you could free us, that you said you could bring us to the promised land, but you couldn't really do it. God repents for his sins. When we doubt the seemingly limitless power of violent authorities, when we resolve to stand strong as believers in love and in justice, peace is possible, and even God himself may repent for his violence. The third tradition is the tradition of justice, dear ones. It is doubt of unearned authority, and it is belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. These are the three traditions of holy doubt, which are also 3 traditions of faith. 3 traditions of conviction: faith in the possibility of learning and change, belief in the experience of those who are different from us, and belief in justice and the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Our prayers asked us, before the burning bush of this world, let yourself unfold in the direction of shared flourishing. Come with whatever seed of faith you can muster. Beloveds, bring your faith in growth and in change. Bring your faith in justice and equity. Whatever your understanding of God or the divine, we Unitarian Universalists have inherited these traditions of doubt, these traditions of faith, these traditions of courage and of shared flourishing. Friends, I invite you to join me in the tradition of those faithful to love and to justice. Join me in the ancient religious tradition of doubt. Our closing song is Olam, Chesed, Yibaneh. Would you say Olam, Chesed, Yibaneh? That means the world will be built with loving kindness. And I love that this phrase doesn't quite specify whose job it is to do that building. And so we might imagine that the responsibility lies with us. It goes like this. Olam, Chesed, Yibaneh. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. I invite you to rise, embody your spirit. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. 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 Here we go. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. 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 Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Yadadai, yadadai, yadadai.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Dear ones, come with whatever seed of faith you can muster. Come with your faith in change and growth. Come with your faith in equity and inclusion. Come with your faith in justice and love. And go in peace, go in love, and go and be blessed as you are each a blessing to others. Amen.